What if I was to tell you that self-improvement and improving your life was actually more straightforward than you've probably been led to believe? Stick with me for the next few minutes because I'm going to share with you one very straightforward, science-backed rule that enables you to improve your life, and that doesn't matter what area of your life that you're planning on working on, in a more successful, direct and meaningful way. And it all revolves around decision making. So stick with me, I'm going to show you how this works. So if you're like many people, you've probably been in the situation where with the best of intentions, you start with a view to getting loads of stuff done throughout your week, and by Wednesday or Thursday, that's all gone out of the window and you're just back to where you were when you started. Well, if that's you, you're not alone. I've been there, done that, and loads of people have too. You see, many of us treat self-improvement and improving our lives like a home renovation where you literally have to strip everything out and replace it and rebuild it. But unfortunately, that's not how it tends to work. And science backs this up, even calling it a burnout trap, where you're trying to do too many things at the same time to the point where none of it gets done particularly well. And research done by the psychologist Roy Baumeister shows that willpower is like a muscle. If you over-exercise it, it leads to burnout and fatigue. The whole crash and burn comes about because you're literally trying to accomplish everything all at the same time, and it's actually a form of self-sabotage. So here's the rule that really started making a difference to me, and it's this. Your only goal with self-improvement is to make better decisions today than you did yesterday. Now let me repeat that. Your only goal is to make better decisions today than you did yesterday. And this isn't massive, big leaps. This is just simple steps, small decisions repeated over time, better than yesterday. And this isn't just motivational mumbo jumbo. Neuroscience backs this up in something called neuroplasticity. It's the brain's ability to adjust according to decisions and according to circumstances. And the more you make these micro decisions along the way, your more your neurons in your brain start firing together in different directions to make this better decision making into a habit. In fact, a 2021 study in cognitive research found that making small evidence-based decisions builds cognitive flexibility, and this makes making better decisions easier over time. See, every single decision for a better version of you is one more vote for a better future version of you, and this whole thing accumulates. It grows bigger, better and better over time, but it starts with these small decisions better than yesterday. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, shows that the compound effect of just a 1% improvement every day makes you 37 times better by year's end. Now, it is a great book. I recommend that you get it and read it. I'll put a link in the description. Now, just think, this isn't making massive change. This isn't huge development. This is just 1% compounded over time. However, the reverse is also true. If you slide 1%, then obviously the way back could be just as dramatic. A 2020 study in Personality and Social Psychology Review found that small, repeated actions actually starts to shape your self-concept. In other words, shifting the beliefs you have about yourself. Get into the habit of going for a 5-minute walk, and all of a sudden you start to believe yourself as a walker. Start eating healthy, and you do it consistently, you start to see yourself as a healthy eater, and so on. So how can you begin to make this work? Well, how about this? Before you go to bed, instead of doom scrolling on social media, why not read 10 minutes or even just 10 pages of a book? And do that every day. Just repeat it. You go from being a doom scroller, social media addict, to a prolific reader. And the cool thing is if you're actually enjoying what you're reading, you're more likely to want to read more. And if it's positive, uplifting stuff, compound over time, that can make a massive difference. Also, instead of spending all of your lunchtime sitting at your desk, why not have a bite to eat and then go for a short walk? Do this every single day. Could only take you 10 minutes. You suddenly go from somebody who just sits all day to somebody who moves. Now, getting out has all kinds of other psychological and physiological benefits as well, but it's the habit of going from sedentary to movement, and that self-concept will begin to shift. You could also apply it to behaviors as well. You recognize that you react badly to certain things. So how about before you react, you just take a couple of deep breaths? fills the brain with a bit more oxygen, and it gives your whole nervous system the time to calm down. The cool thing about this is it makes you less reactive to things that are going on, not just in things that trigger you, but actually overall. You become far calmer and less reactive. And trust me, if you're somebody who reacts badly on a regular basis, this can have a massive difference in your life for you and those around you. As James Clear says in Atomic Habits, make these decisions so small that it's very difficult for the mind to say no. We're looking at micro changes here, compound it over time. As I said right up front, we're not looking at massive change overnight. We're looking at regular, frequent, small changes, and the cumulative effect is massive. Now you might think, this is just too slow, it takes too blinking long. You know, I feel that, and I wanted fast change in my life, and I've tried to do the all or nothing thing. And to be honest, every single time I tried it, it was an outright disaster, and I ended up back to where I started, and sometimes worse off. Ultimately, if it's taken you years to get where you are now, I promise you it's not going to take days to reverse it all. It will take a little longer than that. So just one sustainable decision every single day actually works more readily with the brain, makes it easier to achieve, and avoids that burnout. But the cool thing is that it doesn't have to take long, and as little as a few weeks you can make massive radical change. You will look back and think, gosh, it's only been a few weeks, as little as a month, and you've already made a big difference. But the key thing is to maintain that momentum. So over to you. Pick just one decision that you're going to make your life better going forward. Doesn't have to be anything massive, could just be as simple as doing 5 squats every day before breakfast. 5 squats then could become a workout routine in as little as a few weeks' time. But the key is to get started. Make the decision, make the commitment, and get started. And whatever it is you're doing, it'd be great to hear from you. Make sure you write it in the comments below. Let's help one another out here. Let's support one another to make positive changes in our life. And finally, if you really do want to improve the way you respond and be a lot less reactive to circumstances in your life, then I highly recommend that you check out this video over here. Thanks a lot, appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.